Welcome back to another exciting episode of Vkind Connects. I'm your host, Shabnam Islam. It's a new year and we're celebrating Veganuary all month long with an extra special set of Connects interviews highlighting members of our Vkind community, asking them why they went vegan and how it's changed their lives. And joining us all the way from New Jersey today is Kimberly Winters. Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Shabnam.
So tell us your story. When did you go vegan and what inspired the change?
Sure. Well, I went vegan in 2015, but I first went vegetarian back in 2001. I had received an issue of PETA's Animal Times in the mail, and I don't recall ever filling anything out, but it just showed up, and it was addressed to me, so it was totally meant for me. I had had moments in my childhood where I kind of questioned what I was eating, but never made a real connection. And then when I got to high school, I started buying my own beauty products and I made sure they weren't tested on animals, but still hadn't connected to what I was eating. Then I went to college and I was a philosophy major and I took lots of courses about ethics and I started to think about the way we use animals, but it didn't change how I was eating. And then one day in 2001, this magazine shows up in my mailbox and that I was vegetarian overnight. And then I would go vegan and then I'd go back to vegetarian. And finally in 2015, it was kind of like, in your heart and your soul that veganism is your part of your life. And so just do it already. And so I did. And as every vegan will tell you, my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner.
Do it sooner. That's right. and that's, you couldn't be more 100% on. And I love that you shared that this is a process for you, right? It's not something that happens overnight. And yes, when we do have the woke pill that we take that red pill, we're like, dang, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
But I love that you've made this transition, particularly even before the pandemic. So did you see any changes in your veganism or in your practice or in your lifestyle as the pandemic hit?
As the pandemic hit, not so much, although I guess I was really starting to cook more. And I Chef Adam Sobel, who used to run Cinnamon Stale, the food truck here in New Jersey and in New York City, and then he had a brick and mortar restaurant in Penn Station in New York. He started doing online classes and he was like, I'll teach you what I know. Join these classes. And he was doing them via Zoom and he's here in New Jersey too. And he's so much fun. And he's kind of self-taught through his, working in different restaurants and things. And his food is so interesting and so fun. And so I joined his burger making class. And because he had this beast mode burger or something like that, he called it, with like mac and cheese, and oh, it's so good. And I was like, I gotta know how to make that. And I enjoyed it so much that I actually enrolled in Ruby class. They do online courses, online cooking classes with their professional plant-based class. Because I was like, I need to know how to cook like this. And I'm doing it. It's so fun.
It's amazing. And not only does that change your skill set, but I'm bringing you back because in 2021, something came about called Did You Bring the Hummus? And I would like to hear more about that.
Sure. Thank you. So Did You Bring the Hummus started as a podcast, and the first few episodes were just me talking about being vegan, how much I loved it, how much my listeners could love it too if they'd give it a shot. And it was a Toastmasters project. I didn't even know I was going to like doing a podcast, but I did it and it was just so great. And I've had guests. My 32nd episode posted this past Monday, and I've got a bunch for season 3 lined up. But I also do coaching or guiding. I really like to call it guiding. I help people find their way to veganism. And it's just so much fun. And we face the hard stuff, but we also really look at how beautiful a vegan life is. It's just life-changing.
And what would you say, as a health coach that's transitioning people more toward a plant-based lifestyle, is the hard stuff? What are the top 3 things that people are just completely resistant about? And how do you break beyond that?
Cheese, cheese, and cheese.
Isn't that fascinating how, giving up meat, giving up fish is one thing. Like, okay, I can deal without this. But the cheese, it is literally a drug.
Yeah. And people don't realize that. So it's really nice to be able to show them, hey, this isn't your fault. You're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with you that you're struggling to give up cheese. It's addictive because that baby calf has to be motivated to eat and eat and eat so that they can grow to be, thousands of pounds when they're, full grown size. Of course, it's going to be addictive. So we have to keep that in mind. Like, it's not just us going, it doesn't mean enough to me to go vegan, to give up cheese. That's not it at all. It's totally addictive. There's a whole mouthfeel thing, and it's hard to replicate. But let me tell you, the vegan cheeses, what a difference between the first vegan cheese I tried in 2001 and the stuff that's available today. It's incredible.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Like back in 2001, you were probably like, I don't even want to eat cheese. I'm okay without the vegan cheese. And now it's like, follow your heart melts like the real thing. Hydro ricotta makes me feel like I can have lasagna every day. You've got Rebel cheeses, which I can put on type of a cheese plate, and my parents, my friends, my vegetarians never know different, right?
So good.
It's so good. Now, aside from the social justice issues that you've seen, the connecting the dots, the myriad of other things, what type of health benefits have you seen arise from your transition from vegetarianism?
Oh gosh, this might be TMI, but as a vegetarian still eating cheese, and a vegetarian, by mind you, who could not cook, so everything was covered in cheese so that it tasted good to me. My stomach was a mess. My tummy was always making noise. I was always uncomfortable. I had to make sure that I was never too far from a bathroom, because you just never knew when things were going to go haywire. Yep. And ever since I went vegan, it doesn't happen at all. So I'm comfortable. My bathroom trips are normal. They don't interrupt my life.
And pretty regularly scheduled, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? They don't tell you, like, once you're vegan, you're going to go more often, but it's not nearly as much of a process.
You're basically not sitting on the toilet until your legs fall asleep.
Exactly.
Unless you're a male who likes to do that, it's
right.
like a time in the bathroom, but that's a different story. But no, it is just a much more pleasant experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so what is in the future for you, and what's in the future for Did You Bring the Hummus?
I love that question. I have a signature talk called The Energy of Food, where we discuss the difference between consuming food that once lived and had an interest in living and lived a very uncomfortable life and then was killed, and the difference between eating something. So the difference really between eating someone and something, and the energy around that, and the difference between when we even just think about looking at a plate of animal products, it's very often gray or brown unless it's surrounded by vegetables, which are vibrant and beautiful and so colorful. And when you look at a dish, a vegan dish that has all of that vibrancy, it's not just the color. There's a different kind of life in there, because that's what we're supposed to be eating. And our eyes love it, our taste buds love it, and that's one of my favorite things to talk about, is the difference between also how we feel after consuming someone, the lethargy, the anxiety we can sometimes feel is an anger, right, from all that adrenaline versus
cortisol,
right,
catecholamine. You ingest fear and anger, it's going to show up energetically somewhere in the system, it's basic physics. You know, you
Yeah.
can, like I tell most clients, mechanical energy will be transposed into heat energy and so on and so forth. It is the same thing with bioenergetics. What you consume, you eat, and you transform it into energy.
Yeah.
All of that becomes something.
Yep. Yeah.
So, Kimberly, what would you want your legacy to be in the field of veganism? What's the message you want to leave behind?
Wow. Just that I think that I want people to know how beautiful this life is. And it's not just because your plates look so much prettier, but to know that you've done something so powerful. We have the ability to change the world every single time we make a choice, whether it's what we're eating, what we're buying, like clothing, products, the entertainment that we pay for. Every choice we make, we have the decision to hurt or to help, to forward a different way of being. And I want more people to hear that. I want people to know that it's possible to have a world that's so different from what we have now.
And that's exactly what you bring to the table with Did You Bring the Hummus? And we are so blessed to have you as part of our Vkind community. Thank you for making the world more beautiful, more welcoming, more kind, and a healthier place. And that wraps up this episode with Kimberly Winters. Did You Bring the Hummus? Make sure you check it out. And to watch this episode with Kimberly and the many more Vkind Connects episodes we have, go to www.vkindconnects.com.